The first Foot Joust alpha demo is now available on itch.io, so don't forget to download it after this video. There's a few things to keep in mind when playing this demo. It's only a small fraction of the content that's going to be in the game. I've gotten to a place where most of the major mechanics and ideas are in place. I now just need to get a small portion of people to test and play the game and see how they respond to the controls and feel of the game and find the odd bug or exploit. Also, it's not meant to be easy. The entire philosophy of the game is to avoid the typical hyper-casual style. It is in my best interest though to smooth out learning curves and make learning the game's mechanic easier, but not implement overly simple mobile-like mechanics. And lastly, before release, there'll be another update with more content like maps and enemies. So let's go back in time just before I made this video where I hadn't completed the demo yet. Before releasing the demo, there are a few major tasks that I need to complete. I need to finish adding the balance and restrictions to the enemy selection screen, implement the player's armor system, and then do some general polish and some more quality of life features to explain how to play. So I started with the enemy selection screen. I'm going to deal with code that was created at the very beginning when I had no idea what I was doing, so I could potentially break the game entirely. The only way to do this without restructuring the entire system is to play by the same hacky rules that are already in place. In a single day before and after work, I managed to get it working without breaking it, as far as I'm aware. So I'm not going to show you the code so I don't have to reveal how old and spaghetti-like it is, and instead I'll just explain what it does. To create a balance, I've made it so that each enemy, obstacle, and crate has a certain requirement. The requirement will be how many other enemies are selected before that type of item can be added to a run. This will prevent the player from exploiting the best and highest scoring enemies or crates by just adding only them to a run. Each selectable item will have its requirements set and then do some calculations to prevent the start button from working. I created this side panel with a visual bar that fills up and changes color based on the requirements. Here we can see that if we select the foot soldier, it doesn't require any other enemies to be added to the run. Then if we select the foot jouster, we can see that a total of 2 enemies needs to be selected before the player can challenge them. If we try to challenge the foot jouster, the game won't start and this bar will be incomplete. If we then select the loot crate, it will then require 3, and the game will not start until we've selected 3 of the enemies that are available to us. You can also see that the barricade, which is an obstacle, and the loot crates do not count towards the enemy count. Now that it's all done, I hope this is clearly communicated and visualized in the game for players. As covered in the last episode, we have implemented the upgrade system for armor. Now the next thing to do is add it to gameplay. So I created this code here which checks the item managers for the player's purchases and adds it as health for the player's run. The next thing to do was receiving damage from the enemy. The system currently works by a player colliding into an object and then seeing if it's an enemy or an obstacle. I can use this system by attaching a new script to the enemy and filling out information like what type of attack it is and how much damage it will deal. So now when the player collides, it will look for this script and deal the appropriate amount of damage. Then I finally implemented another script to handle updating the heads-up display, showing how much armor the player has left every time they take a hit. So now when we play, we can see that the player is losing armor when they get hit in different spots depending on the type of attack the enemy uses. So the last major implementation will be the how to play screen. I wanted to create something similar to the arena spin-off I created once before. I do want to reduce as much reading as possible for the player to learn the game, but something like this with a combination of images might help the player understand the mechanics easier. So now if we click through, we can see that all the major mechanics have been outlined. From here, I'll just continue working on some minor polishes and little fixes that I won't outline in this video, so that I can just get on with releasing the game. To cut this video short, thank you for watching and I hope you enjoyed playing the game. Please don't forget to leave any feedback when you're done playing.